Man, can you guys believe it? My old jacket from senior prom still fits.
Aren't you supposed to rent those?
Nah, renting's for suckers. I mean, you get one suit and you're set for all your formal events.
How many times have you worn it since prom?
Guess I haven't. Actually, no, wait. I wore it to my nephew's 5th birthday party.
That was a formal event?
No, it was a Chuck E. Cheese. And I was drunk.
That sounds about right.
Well, anyway, finding this jacket got me thinking about our very next episode. Hey, and welcome back to Scared of the Dark. It's the only show where we go over every episode of Are You Afraid of the Dark? And today we'll be watching The Tale of the Prom Queen. Now, not everyone's lucky enough to attend their prom.
Even less actually have dates to that prom.
Yeah, I was the only guy in the group that didn't have a date. When we had to pose for pictures, I had to just kind of hug the air, like this.
Tragic.
But while some of us simply struggle with social situations, others will have tragic incidents befall upon them that prevent their magical night in the hotel business center with crepe paper and balloons. And that's the story of tonight's tale, where a local legend is hunted down by two boys that haunts a graveyard every prom night. Sure, we've seen it before, but have we seen it with vehicular-assisted suicide? I don't think so. So, let's pin on that corsage and get ready for the tale of the prom queen. We open to a ghostly figure walking through the woods in a flowing white dress. The Midnight Society is bored by the fire. I guess nobody's told a story yet. Turns out the gang is waiting for Kristen yet again, when suddenly the ghost shows up. It's just Kristen making a grand entrance for the second week in a row, showing us she has more flair for the dramatic than the others. Ghost Kristen claims she is telling the true version of an often heard campfire story, the tale of the prom queen. In the tale, a girl named Dee Dee is dropping off flowers at a grave when she overhears some maniacal laughing. She searches the graveyard to find the source, but all she sees are rows and rows of headstones. But after searching long enough, she gets jumped by two boys named Greg and Jam. Despite claiming to be friendly, Greg and Jam both start following Dee Dee around in an oddly threatening way. Suddenly, Jam begins telling Dee Dee about the local ghost, the prom queen.
They say that... Oh, let me tell it. I tell it best.
As the story goes, a young woman was waiting at the gates of the graveyard on a foggy night before prom, waiting for her date to pick her up when a drunk driver slammed right into her. Pretty lame story, but the locals claim on the nights before prom, you can still see her ghostly figure waiting for her date. Greg and Jam say they are planning on searching the cemetery for the prom queen's grave, and invite Dee Dee to stay. Jam tries to sweeten the pot by saying Greg is very attracted to Dee Dee. Now, if Dee Dee were smart, she would run as fast as possible, but instead she agrees to hang around the graveyard with these two creepy boys. After a morning of searching, the three go to an ice cream truck to recollect their thoughts. Greg eventually comes up with the idea to search for newspapers at the library for a report on the crash, and the group excitedly runs off. So right off the bat, Greg and Jam are just huge red flags, stalking a girl through a cemetery and then pressuring her to spend extended amounts of time with you by saying you find her attractive. It's a wild move.
Chat, is this Riz?
I would say go ahead and try it, but I feel like if any of us did that, we would all end up in jail. At minimum.
You know what they do to guys like me in jail? Let's just say I won't just be blowing balloon animals.
Gross, but not entirely untrue. Well, anyway, we see that Greg and Jam are sketchy guys that are very interested in local legends and just so happen to find a girl with those same interests. So, let's tune in and see where this takes us. After combing through years of microfiche, they find the exact story of the hit and run occurring in 1956, with the victim reported to be named Judy Larson. The story also fills in more details as we learn Judy's boyfriend Ricky was so distraught after the accident that he drove his car off a bridge and killed himself. So now this one ghost story became a double ghost story.
Excellent. 2 gruesome deaths.
The boys are happy that they finally confirmed the ghost story is based in reality, but Dee Dee doesn't want to stop there. She suggests that the boys and her contact Ricky's ghost and tell him to pick up Judy's ghost at the graveyard. The boys are apprehensive at first, but they are far too into Dee Dee to care and happily agree. As Greg tries to talk her out of the idea, Dee Dee is dead set on seeing this through, and the three of them end up in a boat under the bridge Ricky drove off of in 1956. Now that they're gathered here, Greg and Jam have no clue how to contact a spirit, but Dee Dee takes charge and puts together a quick seance. As the kids focus on the seance, there are constant bursts of bubbles from the water below, almost replying to Dee Dee. Unfettered by this, Dee Dee tells the ghost of Ricky that Judy is still waiting for him, and the bubbles grow even more intense, causing the boys to paddle away as the bubbles chase after them. Greg is terrified of everything that has just happened, but Jam tells him there's only one way to find out if they succeeded, and that's to go to the grave tomorrow on prom night and see if Ricky picks up Judy. So Greg and Jam started as the creepy ones, but slowly Dee Dee's kind of taken over that spot. I mean, who knows how to just put on a seance at the spur of the moment?
I've dabbled in it a time or two.
That's not surprising, but I mean like normal people with arms and legs.
Rude. You're a rude person.
But more importantly, they had a confirmed ghost sighting with the ghost of Ricky bubbling up under the water and chasing their boat away. And despite all that, they still wanted to go and see the other ghost to see if the two intertwined in any way.
Got to see it through.
They do, and we do, so let's tune in to see the stunning conclusion of the tale of the prom queen. That night at the graveyard, Greg is truly freaked out and asks the group to leave, but Jam and Dee Dee are determined. The group sits and waits, and eventually they hear the rattling of chimes when a robed figure emerges in the cemetery. Greg follows after them and pulls them back. Turns out it was just Jam's cousin Chuck. Jam set him up to scare the group, showing that Jam never believed in all of this ghost stuff either.
I'm gonna hurt you.
As Greg threatens to beat up Jam, the kids see an old Chevy pull up through the fog, the same kind Ricky used to off himself. The boys are terrified, but Dee Dee strolls right up to the car and removes her jacket, showing she was wearing a prom dress all along. Dee Dee was the ghost of Judy the whole time, and claims she needed the boys to take her out of the graveyard and find out what happened to Ricky, so the two of them could finally rest. Judy and Ricky drive off into the fog, leaving the boys dumbstruck. Story over. Back at the fire, the society is satisfied with the happy ending of the tale and call an end to the meeting. So Dee Dee was Judy all along. As obvious as it may have seemed to you watching at home, watching the actual episode, it's a little bit more obvious because Dee Dee keeps using old slang like nifty or keen, and it just doesn't mesh with Greg and Jam, who are more like full-on 90s guys and have kind of references to TV shows and stuff like that.
That's why I always stay up to date on slang. 6'7". Start digging in your butt, twin.
Let's not do that. But after watching this episode, two things are really clear about Are You Afraid of the Dark? One, they love a good ghost story. And two, they kind of have happier endings than Goosebumps. In Goosebumps, the writers are not afraid at all to completely throw away their main characters for the sake of a twist. While in Are You Afraid of the Dark, the characters kind of overcome their obstacle and kind of learn a lesson at the end. Things are usually better at the end of the story than they were at the start of the story.
I like it. It makes me feel good. I hate it because it makes him feel good.
Both valid reasons. But for as obvious as the twist in this story was, there were still some pretty cool things about the tale of the prom queen. The boat chase underwater sequence was pretty cool. It added a lot of tension, as well as the foggy nights looked really good. They were really well shot. They're very creepy. And also the scene at the very end where the car phases through the gate. It blew my mind when I first watched this on like a CRT TV. Of course, it doesn't look as good watching it now in HD on like a flat screen, but for the time, those are some pretty cool effects. For these reasons, I'm going to give the tale of the prom queen 4 dances out of 5. Don't you forget about me and check it out. Especially if you have a prom coming up. I know it's not exactly prom season right now, but you know, you got plenty of time. Find a date. If you're over the age of 21, maybe consider moving on. Just one expert's opinion to another. find new friends like a head and a clown, and then you can spend your nights drinking alone, talking to said head and said clown. I'll see you guys next time on VHS Dinosaur Goes. Scared of the Dark. Yeah, that's the name. See you guys.
Rudy, I'm here. Where's little Ricky?
Shut up, champ.